today in Rich in Relationship. We're going to talk about
What is a partnership really, and what is it not? What gets in the way of most marriages is people lose sight of what a partnership is. A partnership becomes a battleground for promoting my own self-interest. Wrong partnerships are founded on people with differing strengths coming together and leaning into each other's strengths. Welcome to another episode of Rich in Relationship. I'm your host, Rich Heller, and we are going to talk about what is a partnership when it comes to marriage and what is it not. And this is the beginning of a series that we're going to do on how to have a marriage that works. All right. And works means not only for you, but for your kids and everyone around you. This is like the basis for happy marriage. This is it. So, partnership. We talk a lot in Rich in Relationship about partnership. A partnership is a relationship in which two or more people have a shared vision and shared interest in a particular outcome. That's the narrowest definition. You hear that and you think, oh, it's probably my marriage. It's most marriages, right? Except that what gets in the way of most marriages is people lose sight of what a partnership is. A partnership becomes a battleground for promoting my own self-interest. And the reason for this is that strong partnerships are founded on people with differing strengths coming together and leaning into each other's strengths. Somewhat differing backgrounds sometimes, though not always. And that might be the differing strengths piece. It's really what makes a strong partnership is that one partner, let's say, has big picture skills and the other partner is more detail oriented. That's one form of partnership. Or another form of partnership might be that one partner is more structurally oriented while the other partner is more about nurturing and safety within the household and making sure that all the members of the household are feeling cared for and that their needs are met, right? These are different forms of marital partnership. You've heard the expression opposites attract. That is because very often in strong partnerships, it appears like opposites have attracted. At the same time, a partnership of total opposites is going to be more challenging to bring harmony to, because harmony, by definition, is based on shared interests. And so if there are no shared interests, it's not possible to have a partnership. So the good news is strong partnerships, each person has their individual strengths and they've got shared interests and overlap as well. The bad news is it's not unusual for each partner to see their way as the way, right? And this is where partnerships run into challenges. This is where it seems like they may fail from time to time. If you're listening to this and you feel like you're in less than of a partnership right now, the chances are that you both have slipped into my way is the right way, your way is the wrong way. We're going to talk more about this. Actually, we're going to do a masterclass on this right here, on how to end the fight. Right? The fight is I'm right, you're wrong, I win, you lose, and it's vicious. And ending the fight doesn't mean avoiding the fight, right? So there's a rich relationship. We get two kinds of couples. We get couples who are shredding each other, and we get couples who are walking on eggshells, afraid that they're going to shred each other. And the difference is the ones walking around eggshells, afraid they're going to shred each other, have been avoiding the fight, but they still feel the basis for it. They still feel they're right. They're just not going to get into it because they know it's not good for the kids and it's not good. Their relationship, they might kill it, the other person or each other if they get into it. The other couples feel maybe they grew up in a culture where fighting is more common. And so they're going to have that fight more frequently, and it's just part of their existence. But either way, it's a very destructive dynamic, and it's actually destructive of what? the partnership, right? Because a partnership is not built on I'm right and you're wrong. A partnership is built on I have strengths, you have strengths. And the way to something better is where these strengths align and complement one another. That sounds really simple, and it is, but it's not always easy because we've got other stuff that supports I'm right and you're wrong. What comes into play? We're just wrapping up a series on money fights. And the Money Fights series really exemplifies what comes into play. What comes into play is our histories and our mental maps about what's right and what's wrong, our mental maps about what's the right way to live and what's the wrong way to live, our mental maps about how to apply values. So, very often, two people who have a partnership have shared values, but their interpretation of those values are culturally based, or they might be class based. Class meaning the financial mindset they grew up with. If they grew up in a family where the ethos is, I'm going to trade time for money, they have a relationship with money that's very different than if you grew up in a culture where you believe that money is something you can generate regardless of how much time you have. That money and time are not linked together. That I can make money while I sleep. If you grew up in a culture that's more entrepreneurial or even white collar, although white collar can be a time for money experience, your relationship with money is going to be different. In fact, we should probably do a whole episode just on this. All right, the difference between blue collar, white collar, and the entrepreneurial mindset. We probably should do an episode just on that coming soon. So watch out for it. But in the meantime, let's stick to the partnership. These differing backgrounds, these different relationships with how to use time, how to use money, how to relate to people, color values. So if both people have a value of frugality, let's call it, they may experience frugality very different. One might experience frugality as I just don't spend money. And another might hear frugality as I spend money very carefully on things that I know are going to grow my money, depending on where you come from and what your experience is of money. So this is what impacts partnerships, right? People come into partnerships with different strengths and different weaknesses. And when our cultural backgrounds, the way we grew up, and the emotional hurts, the unresolved emotional hurts that we bring to the party show up, that's how we get into the fight. In fact, the fight is really based on when we hit each other's emotional hurts. Now, why would you do that? If you're in a partnership, why would you do that? Right? And the truth is, it's the nature of the partnership, the nature of the marital contract. It makes it sound so legalistic. The nature of the marital covenant, the nature of two people falling in love. That's the basis for the shared vision. That shared vision that you each developed and grew when you fell in love. It wasn't about, well, we're going to own a X car and we're going to live at X house and our kids are going to go to X college. That might be part of it, but that isn't all of it. It's also when you were in love, you saw your partner for all that they could be, and they saw you for all that you could be. I mean, it is so cool when you're in the presence of someone who sees your full potential, sees you as a fully realized human being. Someone who is expressing all of their strengths, all of their innate skills, all of their abilities in complete joy. When somebody sees you that way, you start to see yourself that way. The marital covenant is not just about let's get together and have kids and live in a big house or a small house. It's about I support you in being the fullest, most abundant human being you possibly can. And you support me in that also. That's like what you buy into. And because you see each other for all you can be, You pull up in each other the worst. Does that make sense? No, yes, maybe. You pull up the worst in each other because you got to heal that stuff in order to have the most. You can't get to your most abundant, prosperous, amazing, joyful self until you heal the old wounds, until you heal the old hurts, the stuff from your childhood. Maybe you were molested. Maybe you were yelled at. Maybe you were hit. Maybe you were stolen from, or maybe you did some really heinous crap that you need to heal. In order to be that whole and complete and fulfilled human being, you got to let that stuff go and heal it. You got to drain the pus out of that wound and pull that thorn out, baby. And that's what the marriage partnership is really about, right? When you fall in love with someone and you buy into, we're going to spend a lot of our life, if not all of our life together, it's about that. And when people get divorced, it's because they feel like it's not working. You're bringing out the worst in me, or you're showing me the worst in you, which means, by the way, that you're bringing out the worst in them. You're not the person I married. Who is this person? The person I married loved me unconditionally. Who the hell is this person in my bed? That's all about failing in your primary purpose. Your primary purpose is to develop and grow as individuals. You create this partnership, this covenant, this relationship so that you can heal yourselves and grow. That is the partnership, my friends. Now, most of us, and I'm going to include myself in this, get a little lost along the way. We fall in love, realistically even. I'm on my second marriage and final marriage. That will be really clear. It's either going to work or I'm going to be alone. Like, this is it. I'm done. I'm done with this game, right? I'm all in here. I'm all in. I'm not going to another person. I'm all in, right? I'm married 25 years. I'm all in. I'm all in. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes I wake up and I do go, who is this person? I'm sure she does the same. And I go, oh, yeah, this is the person I love. This is the person who's seen me in my worst moments and still sees me as all I can be. The person who believes in me and who I believe in. I could say, oh, God, she's not doing this. She's not doing that. She's not this. She's not that. I could go there. But my commitment in the partnership is to uplift her and to allow her to uplift me. There was a time where it was close. We got married and we had children, 2 children each in our marriage, and we had one together. And when we had that child, we grew apart for a while there because that child was literally in the middle. That child literally demanded all of our attention for a while there. Being our best selves meant showing up for that child and less for each other. And we both made a decision when that child became more independent to grow the marriage again. We remembered what we bought into. We remembered the purpose of our partnership. Our partnership wasn't just to raise children and launch them into the world. Our partnership was to help raise each other and launch each other into the world. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. I'm encouraging you to think about, what was the basis of your marriage? What's the basis of your partnership? Or maybe you're thinking about getting married. Maybe you're thinking about getting married. I want you to think about, who is that person going to become? And who are you going to become in their presence? It might even be worth it to talk about it. What does it mean to be our best, most realized self? What does it mean to be an expression of the divine? What does it mean to allow that divine spark, whatever that means to you, to catch and to shine? And how do we help each other to shine, right? That's the deal. That's what the covenant's about. All right. So we're going to do a whole series on this. We're going to do a whole series on hostage taking, right? People take each other hostage sometimes in this, meaning it's not a partnership. One person takes power over the other, and inevitably that turns around. We're going to talk about what it means to just be living parallel lives like roommates, and what that means for you individually, and what that means for them individually, and what that means for your kids and your marriage. We're going to talk about gray divorce and why it happens. But most important, in each of those episodes, we're going to talk about, if this is where you are, this is how you can return to the partnership. The partnership is never over until you both decide it is. And then if you have children, the partnership's transformed. Instead of becoming a partnership of mutual support, it becomes a partnership of individual child rearing. If you don't have children, then your partnership dies and you bury it. If you like what you're hearing, if you're interested in this, stay tuned, like this podcast, subscribe, help us to promote this podcast. I am looking to help 10,000 families in these 10 years. Help me to succeed in that mission, right? Our mission is to help and support families, couples to have joyful, prosperous marriages. A joyful, prosperous marriage is a partnership. That's what this Rich in Relationship company is all about. And if you're looking to have a more joyful and prosperous marriage, reach out. Get a free call. Look at some of the resources on the website at richinrelationship.com, RICHINRELATIONSHIP.com. It's also in the podcast notes. Thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful day.